If you're a baseball fan, this week is a doubleheader. I don't mean baseball. This week we have two portions, Matos and Masei. They are the final two portions of Chumash Bamidbar, the book of Numbers, the last two portions of the fourth of the five books of the Torah. Parshat Matos teaches us about the importance of vows and keeping our word. And Parshat Masei tells us about the travels of the Jewish people in the desert, the 40 years they were from Egypt before they got into the land of Israel. But the parsha begins, hi, this is Avrohom Czapnik from the Jewish Learning Exchange. I hope you and yours are well. The parsha begins, Eile Masei B'nei Yisrael. These are the travels of the Jewish people. But the commentaries tell us that it's not only referring to past travels, but it's also future travels, including the different exiles that the Jewish people will go through. And we're all travelers. Yes, we drive to work, drive to shul, to the synagogue, we drive to the store, but we sometimes travel to visit family, but we're really travelers in a much greater sense. My parents of blessed memory were born in Poland, and after the Holocaust, traveling unfortunately during the Holocaust, but came back and traveled through Europe to France to await permission to emigrate to the United States. God willing, on Tisha B'Av night, I will tell you their amazing story. You're invited to come. We're travelers. The Jewish people in Spain thought it was the golden era of the Jewish community in Spain, and eventually they were expelled from Spain. So the Jewish people in the United States, things aren't so comfortable anymore. Anti-Semitism is alive and well, unfortunately, in Europe, in the United States, around the world. But in any event, we have to look at the concept of traveling and what does that mean? My wife read a wonderful book called I Am Not Alone. It's about a woman who unfortunately her husband died when her children were little, and she had to survive the Soviet Union and World War II by herself with it, taking care of her two little children. And she always said the word, I'm not alone because God is with me. So when we are travelers, we have to realize that we have responsibilities as travelers, and we have to be cognizant of our mission and realize that we may not end up in places that we thought of. There's a story about a man who was hoping to go to work, and somebody in the synagogue said, please join us, we need you for a minyan. We need you to make the quorum, for have 10 men to be able to say our prayers, because I have yahrzeit, it's the memorial day of my father, and I have to say Kaddish. And he really wanted to go because he was late to work, but he stuck around. And what ended up happening was the Bolsheviks had taken over his business, and because he was delayed to help make the minyan, he was saved and was able to run away. So we're travelers, and we have to remember that God is with us. There's another powerful story about a rabbi and a moel, a circumciser, who ended up traveling, and they ended up in a place, and the moel said, "Oh, we're lost." He said, "No." The rabbi said, "A Jew is never lost. A Jew is never lost. We always have a mission wherever we are." And sure enough, he found a family nearby that the mother had given birth to a baby boy, and there were other children there, and the father couldn't get anybody, and he prayed for a moel to come and a rabbi to come to circumcise his baby boy on the 8th day. And lo and behold, here these two people, quote, were lost, but they were right in the right place at the right time and were able to do the bris. And the rabbi reminded them all, a Jew is never lost. And that's an important lesson for us. We have to realize that we have a responsibility wherever we go to make sure we're making a Kiddush Hashem, sanctifying God's name. We have to always look for the hand of God in every aspect of where we are and why we're there. Just this morning, I went to a synagogue that I don't usually go to during the summer, and I was so happy to see an old JLE person who lived in Eretz Yisrael who's visiting, and I got to meet him there. And I said, "Oh Hashem, now I know why I went to this shul today, so I could meet up with Austin." And we have to remember that we have to make a Kiddush Hashem, sanctify God's name, and connect Jews and tell them about a class, help people, direct people. We're in places for a reason. And if we in fact understand that, then we're real travelers, but we're traveling with the divine cloud. We may not see the divine cloud, but we're creating the divine cloud by living a life of purpose, sanctifying God's name, being cognizant of God's presence in our lives, and reaching out and touching other Jewish people and other people along the way. Have a wonderful Shabbos. All the best.